Yeah.
So if we need that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on.
Oh, I-
Yeah. But
Is it live?
I think he meant to turn it off because 30 seconds of this
Oh yeah.
means right.
There's nobody on it.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Peace of Christ Church. So good to see your faces. I just want to say a quick word before we start, which is that we always start our service at Peace, if you've noticed, with the chiming of the hour. And today we'll chime, like always. But I just wanted to offer a brief insight into why we did that, why you hear those 10 chimes Sunday after Sunday. And in the contemplative tradition, chiming serves as a sonic anchor. It's a gentle sound to help facilitate the quieting of your mental chatter. It's like a signal to your brain that, to your brain and your body really, that it's okay to be fully present here. That you are safe here, you are held here, and you're invited to just be.
Thank you, Kendall. I love that word, sonic anchoring, or phrase, I guess. Very cool. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. We made it through spring break. Let's do thermometer. Who's excited to go back to routine tomorrow? How are you feeling right now in this moment, though? You can show me right now. I'm very happy to be here. Yeah. Oh, we had a few thumbs down. Hopefully we can change that. Well, welcome. I see some new faces. My name's Mallory. I'm one of the pastors here. We do have a couple things to let you know about. If you've got kiddos and they want to go to kids service in a little bit, we do have name tags for them. You can put those on, and the kids building is back that way. That is also where the restrooms are if you need to use the restroom. So this building, I don't know if it's north or south or east or whatever, because I'm not doing that. Other scouts. This way. Over yonder, Sharon says. Well, let's go ahead and, as you're able, would you stand? We're going to get started with some music, and I'm excited for this time together that we've got today.
Sing this with Creator, all makes me. Your kingdoms come, through the night. If inside forgive people well. Leave me far from temptation. Deliver me from evil. Look out the window, birds I can see. Lord, inside of the tree, out of place. You better stare at the flowers. Just why should I worry? Why do I freak out? God knows what I need. You know what I need. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Now expanding in my heart, It's broken down. To think you told me you are strong and it's lonely. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is strong. God in heaven, I love you. My name above all names. Your kingdom come, your will be done. On earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Sustain us with your word. Give us all for our vices and deliver us from these prisons. Feeling on my head. If I need to let you, I can be a mountain when you're feeling like I can be your street light, showing you the way home. If you can hold my hand when you need to let go. And I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. And stay on the world for young and able and bring us back together in the day. It's time. If you want a garden, we're gonna have to sow the seeds and a little happiness. Let the roots down deep. If it's love that we get, then it's love that we give. If you want a garden, we're gonna have to sow the seeds. Here we go. Whoa, I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let's stay on the world for young and able and bring us back together. It's time. The door is always open. Your picture's on my wall. Everyone's a little broken. Everyone lost. Everyone lost. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone.
Here we go.
Let us stand on the word for young and able, and bring us back together again. It's time, and bring us back together again. It's time.
Y'all can go ahead and take a seat. There's been a lot going on lately. I don't know if you're up on astrology and all that, but we just finished our Mercury retrograde. Thank goodness. And apparently that means now we're starting the new year in Aries, and that means we're supposed to have a lot of like fiery energy to like start getting stuff done. I just don't feel that right now. I don't know if you feel that or not. Maybe you have some things you know you need to figure out, some things you know you need to do, and you're just feeling very weary. I want to offer this next song to you if you find yourself in that place.
When my word takes me places I don't want to go, Christ before me, and my heart aches with sorrow as I hit the road. Christ be with me. And the care of my family takes all that I do. Christ with me when I'm worn and exhausted, ashamed that I'm in. Christ defends me. I rise up today in a strength that is not my own. I'm held by the promise of God, and I'm never alone. When I'm tossed to the side and I want to Christ beside me, and I'm busting my ass, it's never enough. Christ beside me, and I work hard with someone else. It's the one God I see, and I ask for promotion, and you shut the door. Christ is with me. I'll rise up today in a strength that is not my own. I'm by the promise of God, and I'm never alone. When I climb the first step toward a long mountain, Christ, I'll guide me. And I leap out in faith, and I hope to find me. Christ, be with me. Amen.
Good morning. As the ex-children's pastor, it was very weird coming up here without props. It made for children. I almost did. I was excited to be invited to the communion meditation today on this particular weekend because it falls on a very personal anniversary. I'm sure we can all remember where we were 6 years ago on March of 2020. Slide.
Slide.
6 years ago, amidst the earliest days of the worldwide shutdown, I found myself in a hospital room next to my son for 6 days. While he was already fighting cancer, he was there for a very serious bacterial infection that ultimately led to his port being removed. It was one of the scariest times of my life watching his body struggle and feeling completely alone. The hospital was a complete deserted wasteland, eerily quiet, no visitors, no siblings, only one caregiver allowed, no volunteers, none of our usual comforts that helped us get through that time. We were confined to a room, just me and my then 4-year-old son. At the same time, my partner literally couldn't move. He had completely thrown out his back, and he was in the worst pain of his life. We were forced to separately face our own struggles, and the world felt so small. And that was the first time we ever had a view looking out of the window from that hospital. It was actually really risky. So as people started to adjust to staying home, artists, thank God for them, around the world started to do creative things. And one of them was Ben Gibbard, lead singer of Death Cab for Cutie. If you don't know that. He began to give home concerts from his home live stream. And so I would, as my son began to stabilize, I would sit on my phone and watch his live streams. And it was kind of what got me through that time. It helped to know that others were also isolated and we were all listening together. Next slide. If you're unfamiliar with Death Cab for Cutie, you might not know they have an album entitled Kintsugi, which is referenced behind you. And Kintsugi is the ancient Japanese art form of repairing broken pottery, often using shiny tones like gold, not to hide the cracks, but to highlight them, making the piece more beautiful because it was broken. And that's how I felt during that time. My life was a collection of shattered pottery, wondering if it would ever be repaired. On top of that, the world felt broken. My heart was broken. My partner's back looked like it was broken. I think we've all lived through times when we felt that way, where we don't have the answers. We are grieving. We are in survival mode. We are stressed, burnt out, or even worse. And yet somehow we move forward. Even on our hardest times, something carries us through. And I think of the Son of God on the cross. His body was hurting. His spirit was hurting. And he was willing to remain. He let the darkness come. He let the world turn to dark for 3 days. So that something new could arise. A transformation could unfold. Communion is that time for me to pause and to remember that our story is still being written, that we are still living, there's still hope for us. The bread is that symbol that our scars are made into something beautiful, not by our own doing, not by gold paint and glue, but through sweat, blood, and tears that Jesus shed for us, so we don't have to. Please join me in the reading. I will read the regular text, and you all will read the highlighted text together. God is within you.
God is also within you.
Lift up our hearts.
We join in the beloved community.
Let us give thanks for the blessing of life.
Together, we raise our voices in gratitude.
Join me in prayer. God, thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for being with us in the times that we have been cracked open. We ask for your comfort to be here with every single person here today. Many of us in the midst of uncertainty and stressors. And I just ask for this prayer upon every person. Great is the mystery of faith.
Christ has reimagined death, and we join him in bringing heaven to earth.
We have some new instructions today on how we're going to take communion. We will still start from the beginning, first row, and move to the back. row by row will come to the front. You are welcome to light a candle if you feel that on your heart today, and partake in the elements. All are welcome. We have gluten-free. And then after the front rows come through the center aisle, go back to your seats through the edge aisles. Thank you.
Where can I go from your presence? Where can I run from your spirit? Spirit, where can I go from your presence? Where can I hide from your spirit? Spirit, from the highest heights to the lowest lows, from the mountain top to the valley below, we need a spirit. Spirit, you meet me here. You go before me, your love surrounds me, changing the atmosphere. Where can I go from your presence? Where can I run from your spirit? Spirit of me. Where can I go from your presence? Where can I hide from your spirit? Spirit of me. From the highest heights to the lowest low, from the mountains top to the valley below, in the darkest night, you much rather hide, even there your light shine bright like the morning, holding me here. Spirit, let me be here. You go before me, your love surrounds me, changing the atmosphere. Holy me here. Spirit, let me be here. You go before me, your love surrounds me, changing the atmosphere. You don't give up, even when I do. You know I can when I'm ready to. You are steady when I can't be still. You will find me, and it always will. You don't give up, even when I do. You won't out, when I'm ready to. You are steady when I can't be still. Your love finds me, and it always will. From the highest heights to the lowest lows, from the mountains high to the valley below, the darkest night, you watch the light of light, even there your light shines bright and morning, holding me your spirit. Spirit, you need a spirit, always embracing, never rejecting. Your kindness draws us in. You need us here. Spirit, you need a spirit, always embracing, never rejecting. Your kindness draws us in. All right, kiddos, y'all can come to the middle. Come on down. Y'all welcome Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon. I wish you would whistle.
Someone whistle for Ashley. Someone whistle for Ashley for Brandon. Welcome,
Yeah.
please.
I'm Mr. Brandon. It's good to be with y'all again. It's good to talk with you. Is my voice too loud? Got the headphones on? That's all right. We all have our ways to. So today, Miss Kendall is going to talk to the adults, and she's going to talk to us about how God speaks to us and hearing God's voice. So I wanted to talk with y'all about how we hear God's voice, how God might speak to you, how God speaks to me. So when I said God speaking to us, I saw you go, I'm curious, do y'all ever feel like you hear God or feel God? Yeah. What is it like for y'all? Calm down when you're mad. That's a good one. What about, does anybody else feel like they hear? And when I say hear, I don't know about y'all. I don't hear God's voice with my ears, like I hear y'all talking, but I feel like I feel God or God speaks to me in other ways. What about y'all? Are there other ways that you feel God? Yeah. Yeah. You feel God speak more than like hear it. What does it feel like for you? Oh, God tells you the right thing to do. Tells you, yeah, beautiful. I love it. I love it. What are some of, okay, so I'm doing the kids sermon, so I have a prop. I'm just kidding. What is it about? Adults need props too, and I think for me.
Boy.
So, if y'all are like me, sometimes I feel or hear God's voice, and then sometimes I feel or hear other voices too, right? Like sometimes there's a part of me that might be scared, or a part of me that might be annoying, or other voices that I might hear that are going on inside me that I feel. But then there's some voices that are God's voice. And so, do y'all know what this is? So, you know what? A metal detector? Not quite. Not quite. Do y'all know what this is? This prop might be outdated. What? It's the thing that it is. This is called. Does anybody know? I'm irrelevant to this generation.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Okay, this is gonna go. This might go. Maybe this is the teaching moment. So this is called a radio. For now. So, have y'all ever seen?
Oh, now I know what it is.
Now, it's in it. Yo, okay, that was the missing piece of the front. Have y'all ever used a radio? It's like a walkie-talkie. So this kind of radio, kind of like walkie-talkie, you can change. You hear that? It's staticky.
But instead of giving up, he decided to make
You can tune it to different what are called radio stations. I didn't think this through. There's this- there's a crucial tuning element here that's needed for the metaphor.
A channel? Oh, a channel.
Yes, and on your car radio, there's different stations that we can tune it to. And so here's what I want to talk about. It sounds like y'all hear God or feel God in different ways, the same way that I feel God sometimes. Sometimes God, I feel God when he or she is telling me to feel loving or to be patient or to be patient with someone's metaphor that doesn't quite land on the references. Like your dad, yes. And I found, and I'm curious for y'all, there's different things that help me tune into or feel God's voice. And I'm curious for y'all, what are things that help you feel God's voice? Are there things that you do, or certain places you go, or certain thoughts you think that help you feel or hear God's voice? Or you go in the backyard and do what? Oh my gosh. You go in the backyard and you see the wind pushing through the trees. And that helps you tune into God's voice and feel God. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful one. Yeah. Outside. Anywhere outside. I think that's true for me too. What about anybody else? Is there a place you go or a thing you do? Sometimes you didn't hear us and didn't. Sometimes we go in the living room and we put on music and we dance. And that's something that we do that helps me feel God. You should have no. What about you? Is there anything that you do that makes you feel more loving or joyful or brave? You're always on. You know, my secret is I'm all. Popsicles. That's a great one. The way you feel God is when you're calm. Oh, that's a good to know. Like that's good. So I'm gonna I'm gonna stick with the metaphor. That is how you tune into God's voice when you calm down. That's beautiful. Or go outside, you said. I love it. So here's what when you go outside, okay. Here's what I'm learning. We all have different ways that we can tune into feeling God with us. So for some of us, it's eating popsicles. For some of us, it's going outside. For some of us, it's watching the wind go through the trees. And that's how it's helpful to know how we tune into and how we can listen to God's voice. For me, it's dancing with you. So that's awesome. No, this week, here's what I want to challenge y'all to do this week. This week, I hope y'all can do one thing, maybe one popsicle, or watch the wind at some point, or go outside at some point and feel God, hear God's voice this week, and you do that. Thank you so much for sharing with me how you hear God's voice. We're all now going to line up. We're going to go backwards that way. We're going to follow Olivia and Miss Riley back to the kids' building. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. This is called the radio.
Wait,
What?
everyone
That's
to come.
lady. It's supposed to go on here.
If you're a kiddo age 10 or under, you can go back to our kids building.
Oh, listen a little closer. We want to get to out here. It's time for
Hello, everybody. This is one of my favorite experiences. It's a deeper look where we take a few minutes to get to know somebody a little better. This is Lainey, one of our childcare providers. So she's one of the, yeah, it's one of my childcare providers. She's one of the folks that is back there with your kiddos every time we're here in person. So thankful for her. We want to learn a little bit more about her. So Lainey, our first question always, just tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Good morning. I had to write this down to manage my time because I'm surprisingly fast here at off track. But I grew up in my grandparents' home with my single mother, and I believe that's truly the foundation of who I am. I grew up my whole life being called an old soul or somebody who just managed to get people's life stories after meeting them very shortly thereafter. I grew up on VHS tapes and spending whole days outside and sitting in rooms full of adults being completely silent. So I just think that's probably like a big part of. I'm gonna the next Brittany doesn't that's all right. But yeah, I was when my mom got married, I had a stepdad only for a couple of years, and then I officially became a peacock too. And now I have a dad who's always there for me and great. And like going through high school, I think was probably the most difficult part of my life because at a certain point in high school, my brain kind of was like, all right, we're done masking and hiding all of these little quirks that we have going on. And it became very difficult to keep up with my grades and managing sports and helping my parents raise my siblings who are 13 and 14, who I think are some of my greatest blessings, but at the age they are at now, part of my biggest challenges. But I joined the Army straight out of high school, and I think that period of my life was honestly meant to break me down a little bit because it was part of the most emotionally and physically draining thing I've ever done. And so I'm hoping that around now and being here and after I met Kay, I didn't feel so alone. So I'm hoping I'm building myself back up to be a little bit stronger than I was before in theory.
Tell us something about you, a quirk, a habit, a hidden thing that we wouldn't know unless you told us.
Okay, so it's embarrassing how many times I will watch a movie over and over again. One of my favorite movies is The Princess Bride. Followed shortly thereafter by White Chicks, which is two ends of the spectrum. And I could fully monologue both movies with the music and everything if I was given the chance to. It drives Kay
We
crazy.
need to hang out because that's me as well. When I was younger, my older sister had a very big crush on Jonathan Taylor Thomas because it was the late 90s. And yeah, and she had a VHS of Improvement that she had recorded. And I watched it so much that my siblings threw it away in like the big dumpster, not once, but twice. And I went and got it. I'm with you. There's things I can watch that I could just, you and I could just sit here and do a whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Kate tried to hide my Princess Bride DVD for a while.
We will not be deterred.
And then they put it on Disney Plus. So I was like,
I get it. Plus.
Never.
That's right. Okay, last thing. What is giving you joy, giving you life, getting you out of bed? What's exciting in your life right now?
Well, I love Kay. So just getting to hang out with her every day. When she works longer, it kind of sucks. But I hang out with my three fur babies. I have a cat that I've had since high school. I have a wiener dog whose name is Wesley after Wesley. And then I have an Australian Shepherd named Obi-Wan. But honestly, probably the biggest thing for me is music. Just listening to music. I love the complexity of it, the storytelling, the frequencies that you can feel. I love honestly not sitting in silence. So having something going on, being having something to kind of clear my head, but also, like sometimes someone has already perfectly laid out how I feel in a song and given me the means to express it. So I can wake up and do that. And then recently I noticed that when I like to drive through neighborhoods and clear my head sometimes, just kind of drive around. And I love seeing kids actually playing outside again and just all different kids from all different backgrounds just running around the street, riding their bikes. Um, Having a glimpse of something to be hopeful about, knowing that right now is kind of a hard time to wake up and feel joy or feel hopeful. So finding the little things.
Give it up for Lainey. Thank you very much. I appreciate it so much. Give it for Lainey to go back to hang out with our kiddos. I'm going to read our community liturgy this morning, and one of the things that I really enjoy is about getting to work with Mallory and Kendall is that we get to do fun things and creative things whenever we want, because we're the grown-ups. And sometimes that, like our last meeting, is me texting Mallory on Thursday and asking if she can do a specific song. And sometimes she said, yeah, it's wonderful. And sometimes that's Kendall saying, hey, can we kind of do our community liturgy a little different this week? And so in our community liturgy, as always, I will read the plain text here in the guide or up there, and then you will read with me on the bold text in your guide or the highlighted text in the, I may not have gotten the text in there. That's the wrong text. So you'll read it out of your guide. So be out the guide. And so, but this week, while we do that, Kendall is going to provide our sonic anchor with some chimes before we read, after our community lines, and after our reading. So join me. The Lord said, go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by. That great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a sound of sheer silence. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and went out and stood at the mountain.
This is a poem called The Summer Day by Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the this grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around her with enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and barely washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have to do all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild, precious life?
Good morning again. So at our last in-person service, David preached about stillness, and we joked about how he is never still. So if you've ever like sat next to him on a bench, you know that this is true. And during the last communion meditation, Gianna mentioned her stay at Christ in the Desert Monastery and how the intense silence there was like physically painful for her. So I want you to kind of like imagine a spectrum of how uncomfortable someone is with silence and stillness. And I'm thinking you could probably place David like here, okay? Maybe Gianna too, I don't know. You could place me here. As in, I taught my children from a very young age that mommy is allergic to sounds. And I don't generally condone lying to children, but it was really the most accurate way that I could figure out how to describe my strained relationship to noise. So if it were up to me, there would be way more silence. Now, of course, everyone has sounds that are annoying to them. Like, what's the sound for you that is like nails on a chalkboard for you? What are some of them called? Whining is number one. Anything else? Repeating noises. Yeah. Yeah. What? Oh, yeah. Yes. Computer overeating. Yes, sure. Certain politicians' voices. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
People chewing food.
People chewing food. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Sometimes kids just like make the same noise like, over and over and over. Yeah. Why? So my list of unbearable sounds is really long. I feel so overstimulated by how loud the world is that probably like 95% of the time I drive my car in complete silence. Like no music, no audiobooks. I know that it's weird, but it's what my body needs. So of course I was like, yeah, guys, I'll preach the sermon on silence. But just because I love silence, crave silence, need silence, it doesn't mean that I have some kind of leg up in this whole contemplative spirituality thing. I'm not extra gifted. In fact, my relationship to silence reminds me how some of my friends and I joke about our evangelical days and say that we thought we were like so good at purity culture. Like, so good. Turns out we were just gay. Similar situation here. I just have a natural affinity for silence. It's not actually a sign of spiritual superiority. I just have auditory allergies. So I could preach a sermon today trying to convince all of you would be holier. You could just have the same sensory issues as I do. But I don't know that that would really help anyone other than my ego. So ideally, I'd like to go a little deeper in this sermon to convince why all of you should be more like me. Last in person, David preached from 1 Kings 19, which was the exact same passage I was planning to preach, but we didn't consult each other, so it was fair game. But by way of reminder, we just read it. 1 Kings 19 is where God tells Elijah, go stand by this mountain, and the presence of the Lord is going to pass by. So Elijah stands at the mountain, right? And this super powerful wind that shatters rocks passes by. But God was not in the wind. And then there was an earthquake. God was not in the earthquake. Then there was a fire. But God was not in the fire. And finally, after the fire, the earthquake, and the wind, Elijah hears something else. And depending on your translation, he hears a still small voice, a gentle breeze, or the sound of sheer silence. Yes, please. I may appear to be a progressive Baptist, but my soul is one part Quaker, one part nun. Because As I'm also one part in Enneagram 5, I wanted to do a deep dive on the word silence. It turns out that in the Bible, at least, silence is predominantly used negatively, as in, I will silence my enemies, or I will not be silenced. There's this powerful speech, for example, that Mordecai gives his niece when he's trying to convince her to beg the king for mercy for the Jews. But Esther is too afraid to do it. And so he says to her, if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. Who knows? Perhaps you have come to royal dignity for such a time as this. So in other words, the majority of the time, the word silenced or silent appears in the Bible. Silence is not a good thing, which is kind of a bummer for me. And not only that, in 1975, a biblical scholar named Johann Less published an article in the Still Small Voice from 1 Kings 19, and he argues pretty convincingly, I might add, that a more accurate translation of those three particular Hebrew words is a roaring, thunderous sound.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not going to bore you with the nuances of Hebrew translation, but in case that sounds like it can't be a real thing, that correct meaning of the phrase might actually be the opposite of what we've always heard. Just think of how this also happens in our English language. That's sick means that's super cool or that's diseased. To dust means to remove or to sprinkle. To buckle means to fasten and secure or to collapse under pressure. To screen means to show or to filter. To wind up means to get started or to finish. The only way you really know is in context, right? So whereas most translators have understood the Hebrew phrase kol damama daka as standing in contrast to the wind, the earthquake, and the fire, this scholar reads the wind, the earthquake, the fire as build up to an even louder and more magnificent sound. I know it will not come to a surprise to you that I prefer a still small voice. But thunderous shout is also a viable semantic option. So which one is it then? Does Elijah hear God in the culmination of these wild natural elements? Or does he hear God in contrast to the chaos? Is God in the boom or in the quiet? I'm going to go with yes. When I hear the word silence, I generally think of the absence of sound. But perhaps silence in the spiritual sense is more like the absence of distraction. And sometimes the absence of distraction is often loud, like an intense seismic intrusion that blocks everything else out. I've experienced this with grief. I've experienced this with having a baby. But I didn't have a baby. And then sometimes the absence of distraction is like a whisper that you have to lean in and strain your ear to hear. You see what I mean? It's both, I think. So which one are we supposed to chase? If we want to be spiritual and all that. The roar of the storm or the soft, nearly imperceptible hum of the earth? I think the answer is that we don't have to chase anything. The point is that the divine is using every possible means of communication, and we're given 1,000 chances to notice, from listening to thunder to watching grass grow. And that isn't meant to be confusing. The divine is relentless in her desire to connect with us. The girl just doesn't give up. He, she, they are everywhere reaching out. So many times in my life, I've heard from people who say they never hear God speak. They like to be the kind of people who have heard God on occasion, perhaps, but they just haven't had that experience. The book of the Bible where the word silent, silent shows up the most is the book of Job, where Job goes through all of this intense suffering and he's confused because he's like, I've been righteous. I've done the right things. What is happening to me? Why is this happening? God, give me an answer. And his friends are like, dude, shut up. Clearly you sinned. Like probably a lot. So just go be quiet, be silent, and accept your punishment already. For 37 chapters, no one ever stops talking. They just go back and forth, back and forth. There's no peace or quiet in the whole thing, which to me feels so much like real life. Someone always has an opinion or a hot take, or there's always a TV on or a politician jabbering. Someone is always casting blame or dishing out shame. You can't even hear your own thoughts, much less the sound of divine mystery. At the end of Job, God finally speaks, finally responds. It's this long monologue, and God says things like, where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me. Have you ever given orders to the morning or shown the dawn its place? Have the gates of death been shown to you? Have you comprehended the vast expanses of the earth? Tell me, what is the way to the place where the lightning is dispersed, or the place where the east winds are scattered over the earth? Does the rain have a father who fathers the drops of dew, from whose womb comes the ice, who gives birth to the frost? Do you send the lightning bolts on their way? Do they report to you, here we are? Who has the wisdom to count the clouds? Who can tip over the water jars of the heavens where the dust becomes hard and the clods of earth stick together? Do you know when the mount goats give birth? You watch. When the doe bears her fawn. Does the hawk take flight by your wisdom? Is the eagle soar at your command? When God finally answers Job, it reminds me of Mary Oliver when she says, I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields. I thought I was going to preach a sermon about the discipline of choosing silence. But I think it might actually be simpler than gritty discipline, choosing silence. After all, God got through to Job, and that guy had a whole mouthful to say. I think that hearing the divine might just be about surrendering to the absence of distraction, paying attention to the light that is right in front of your face, knowing the distinct sound of your child's laughter, admiring the pink and orange hues of the sunset, memorizing the texture of the cool soil in your garden. If we are expecting God's voice to sound a certain way, we may never hear it. If we are open to the possibility all around us, we hear it constantly. What is it that distracts you from experiencing love, from seeing abundance, from believing the arc of the universe bends toward justice? Ask one more time. What is it that distracts you? Can you name it in your mind right now? What is it that distracts you from experiencing love, from seeing abundance, from believing that the arc of the universe bends towards justice? And then can you imagine turning down the volume dial on those distractions? I don't know how to get rid of them, but can we turn the volume down? And when you do, what do you hear now? Is it possible that those other sounds are the sounds of God? I think yes.
You can stay seated or you can stand. We have one more song. Feel free to do whatever your body needs to help you to engage with being still and listening. If you need to engage by singing, whatever you need. This is my mother's womb. It's whom I listen. All nature sings and round me rings the music of God's sing. This is my mother's womb. I rest me in the thought of rocks and trees, of skies and seas. Her hand the wide and wide. This is my mother's womb. The birds their carols raise, the morning light, the lily white, declare their rivers free. This is my mother's word. She shines in all the spring. In the rising, I hear her voice. She speaks to me every night. This is my mother's word. Oh, let me never forget that though the road seems off so strong, she is the healer. This is my mother's word, and when my heart is sad, all nature sings, let the heavens ring. God reigns at the earth beneath. All nature sings, let the heavens ring. God reigns at the earth beneath.
Right. If you write it down or forget what to say. First thing, we have eggs at the back for Easter Sunday. If I can get the slides, thank you. Oh yeah, a couple of things. Sundays in April, different. First Sunday, when normally we would be off, we'll be here for Easter. We'll take the second Sunday as a Feed Your Soul Sunday, the third Sunday as our gathered Sunday in person, and then the last one. I got it wrong. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you about it later. Easter Sunday. We have Easter eggs in the bag that need to get filled for the Easter egg hunt. Every bag has about 3 dozen eggs. Is that right? So if you would grab a bag or two, depending on what you feel like you're able to do to get those filled, and then bring them back with you in 2 weeks on Easter Sunday, April 5th. If you're like, yeah, I can get them and I can fill them, I will forget to bring them with me. Kindle or I can come get them from you. So if you would please grab a bag or two, get them filled, bring them back, or let us know if you need one of us to get them for you. And then next we have this Friday, the 27th, we are going to provide a meal and serve it to some unhoused neighbors in downtown Georgetown. It's at 4 o'clock, and so I know that is like excludes a lot of people. But if you are available, I would love to have you come and do that with. We'll get some more information on that coming out soon. And then Good Friday gathering, we do a Good Friday service with several other churches in the area. This year, it is at Austin New Church, which meets in a middle school. Dang it, I get it wrong every time.
Austin New Church
It's
is in
at-
South Boston at their.
At their campus, which is also known as the O4 Center,
Yes.
where they have events and music gatherings. If you would fill out, you can either use this QR code or the link in the email newsletter to get filled out. Hey, I'm going to be there. Please have enough food and space for me. That will be great. And then last, before we invite Paul up for the benediction liturgy, if you would like to help out with sound, you need one or two more people that can get trained and be helpful with that. And I know I told you were going to get an email from the Planning Center that said, here's how you can get signed up. And I ran into a glitch with that. And the wonderful people at Planning Center helped me figure out what I did wrong. So you should get it tomorrow. But specifically sound, if that's something that you feel like you are capable of learning and doing, we'd love to get you involved with that. Paul is going to give us our benediction. Mallory will sing us the benediction song. And then we invite you to help us clean up and pack up while we chat.
All this talk about finding God and science justice ways to part about. Most of you don't know me well, and Sundays we are gathered here. Georgetown from 5.
You have to talk with Mike.
Okay, I meant, wait. Anyway, what does chiming of the hour and benediction have to do with it? The chiming of the hour takes us from the many places we live out there into this cloistered community. The benediction reverses that. It's like bookend or mirror phenomenon. I will read the standard text if you will read the bold. Lord, you are ascending God. You sent your word to create. You sent Christ to reveal. You sent your spirit to empower. You sent your church to proclaim. Send us, O God, to renew the earth. Lead us by your spirit and your word. As your people, we now go. By our peace will make you known. People of God, you are sent. Go in peace, for peace. Amen.
May the
Peace of Christ go with you.
May the peace of
Christ go with you. May the peace of Christ go with you.
May the peace of Christ go with you. May the peace of Christ go with you. May the peace of Christ go with you. Wherever you may go. Thank you all. Let's chat and tear down and put things in the trailer.